Hey folks, it's Carmen here from Urban Farm School. I'm one of the lead instructors for the Verge Permaculture Design Certification course, and we're doing a series of videos here on some of the strategies we've employed on our own urban property here in Calgary Zone 3. So we're going to have a look today at utilizing a resource that we have in abundance in an urban environment. That's a driveway. So in our case, our driveway used to actually be in shade most of the day because my neighbors here had 3 massive spruce trees on their property. So this area was really an underutilized space, and who wouldn't underutilize it? It's a driveway, for goodness sakes. So when those trees actually came down, we decided that we were going to avail ourselves and optimize the use of this incredibly valuable resource called sun. So suddenly our front driveway was bathed in sunlight and just presented so many opportunities for us. So one of the ways we acted on that was to create a summer setup. So in the wintertime, we'll park on here for the last couple of years anyway. But in the summertime, we decided to use this space. So if you can see this is basically the driveway to nowhere. This used to be a garage. If you look up at the house where those 2 big windows are and the new plum tree is installed, that used to be a garage door. But right now this is a family room and this is the driveway to nowhere. So the driveway is in pretty rough shape. This is a 50-year-old house. At some point in the near future, we will probably end up taking up this driveway and actually being able to plant in ground. But for now, this has been a really fun experiment to see what we can grow here on our front driveway. So, you know, we teach courses on container gardening at Urban Farm School, so this is a great opportunity for us to really demonstrate some of the strategies. So we've been doing a lot of experiments here with different configurations. Last year, we had squash tumbling down the entire driveway. It was pretty epic, and everybody would, you know, comment on on the crazy things going on our front driveway. But for this year, we decided to shake it up a little bit. So we have these feed buckets from the farm that we love to use. So these are, you know, pretty mighty good size. The challenge is that they're black. So they really absorb a lot of heat and make the soil mix really, really important for container gardening. So we experiment with a number of different soil mixes. The important part is plenty of organic matter to get a good soil sponge. This year, because I had so many extra artichokes that I grew, they all germinated, which was unusual. This is going to be a little artichoke farm out here, which is fun. And we've got a number of different soil mixes. So we're sort of strategizing the different soil mixes and going to monitor how well they handle the intense heat in this area, as well as water. So we've got a number of different amendments in here that we're messing around with, including, and we'll talk about this in another video, some wool. So I won't get into that too much for now, but we'll let you know how this works out in the future. So we've also got, so these are annual systems here. But over here and here we've got 2 large horse troughs. These are also, we're going to plant into annuals this year as well. So we've got some tomatoes in here. Of course, as I mentioned in a previous video, we do get a lot of deer that come into our property. So we're basically in the middle of the city, but we're really, really close to the Tsutsina Reserve, and there's, you know, wildlife corridor has been up along 98th Avenue all the way to the top of the hill since I've lived here. So they love this little pocket of the community, and they come in here and overwinter on our property. So the plants that we choose here, we want to make sure that they are basically deer proof. But when deer are hungry, they will eat even tomatoes. So normally this is a member of the Solanaceae family, so the nightshade family. So leaves of these species, of these family members, are poisonous. So you don't typically think that deer would munch on these, but when they're hungry, they will. So I've also got some garlic growing in here. That's a aromatic species that they will not eat. In addition, I've got in here, I haven't filled this in yet, it's still early spring, I've got some Peruvian mint. Now, if those of you have never tried Peruvian mint, it is actually a member of the marigold family, and it is intensely, intensely fragrant. And these plants will grow probably 8 feet tall. So you just have to brush up against them and they release this lovely fragrant oil. And it's a beautiful, beautiful plant. It's heavily medicinal. It's also called wakate, and it's an incredible, incredible plant. So we grew this last year in a number of locations in our backyard, and we loved it so, so much. So we're going to use that in here and experiment. I probably might have even put some kale in here, which normally the deer would just go after like crazy, but we're going to see how well this Peruvian mint acts as sort of a pest confuser species in this case. So we'll stay tuned for that. If you turn the camera over here, we'll look and we see we've got those same feed buckets. And these are golden raspberries. So these have been in these buckets for about 7 years now, and they continue to produce like crazy. So, you know, if you live in a small space or you live in a space where you don't want to deal with the suckering that these raspberries will do for sure. This is one strategy to employ on your property. So we love experimenting. We have so much land we can grow in ground, but this is wonderful to experiment with this and demonstrate to folks that these strategies actually work. Over here we have some Jerusalem artichoke in that bucket. They're not really doing too much right now. And then over here, and then over here we've got some perennial asparagus, of course, really going to town. We need to get in here and do a bit of harvesting. We're going to leave a few canes, a few spears to actually allow them to fern out. Those ferns are really important for asparagus because those are basically the solar panels that allow the root systems to expand over time, and thus you get more production. So we always leave some spears to fern out, and so the plant can get more vigor. So we've got, again, it's a planter system. This is an in-ground system for the asparagus. There's no bottom on this part here. This is actually a closed bottom one because we have some very, very aggressive Red River raspberries in here that we just put in last year, and they're really doing well. So we just have to get some supports in place for these guys, and they're just going to rock it out. So yeah, we're really happy with this. I absolutely love raspberries. They're one of my favorite fruits of all time, a real prairie fruit. But you know, we do have to be mindful in an urban setting of control. So we're just playing around with different strategies for doing that. So you can see that the level of abundance that is possible using containers on a front yard driveway like this, it's pretty unlimited. So we could be growing a whole lot more stuff. We're only limited by the amount of buckets and containers that we have, unfortunately. But yeah, we're hoping to see what kind of production we get off of this year, and so stay tuned for that. We'll hopefully we'll have a chance to shoot a follow-up video to show you what this all ends up looking like. And you know, in our case, we really we do pay a little more attention than most folks would to aesthetics. And that's number one because we're using this property as a teaching tool. We're also introducing a lot of people who know nothing about permaculture. We're inviting them into our spaces with our eco yard tours. So we want the space to feel warm and welcoming and inviting, and beauty is really a part of that. That's like the enticement tool. So when people see a beautiful space, they want to come in and enjoy it. They may not know anything about ecological systems or ecological design or permaculture or anything, and they don't even notice that most of the species are edible in our front yard. They just want to come in because it's beautiful. So that's part of our seduction strategy for getting people turned on to permaculture, is to make it beautiful. So hope you've enjoyed today's video, and do try growing on your front driveway. It's just a fantastic utilized resource. I mean, I realize that most people can't do this if they've got a garage at the end of it, if they're using their garage all the time. But if you're able to keep your car out for the summer and utilize part of that space, this is for us the only place on our property that gets 8 hours of sunlight now. And so we're thrilled to pieces that we have a space like that. So yeah, we're having fun with it. I hope you do too.